Good day, everyone. Brian Brown here. It's coming to you this morning. I want to talk to you about making mistakes and how to overcome those mistakes. You know, when you're starting out in business or you've been in business forever, you're going to make mistakes. You make mistakes every day. So you basically need to you learn what you need to learn from crashing and making the big crater, and then move on. Never repeat that mistake again. You know, that's one of the keys to success in business is not letting your mistakes just rock your world and ruin you. Let them be your teacher and learn from them quickly, and don't make those mistakes again. I know that may sound like a no-brainer, but that is one of the keys to every successful business person, entrepreneur, corporate CEO. They make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're human. And hopefully over time we make fewer and fewer mistakes as we go through this journey, because that they teach us so much. I can tell you, those of you who have been following me any length of time know that I have two successful bricks and mortar businesses and an online business. And I'll have to be honest with you, before I got to that point, I had tried network marketing. I had tried a lot of things. The only thing I didn't try was franchising, but I almost took the dive and did that. And, it's not that I failed at it. I probably didn't put the effort in it that I needed to, but I learned from that. I learned a lot from that, and was able to move forward and really discover who I was and discover what I wanted to do. Now, one of my bricks and mortar businesses, I'll tell you kind of a phoenix rising out of the ashes story, so to speak. One of my bricks and mortar businesses that I started years ago with a business partner, I basically entered into that business relationship out of fear. See, several years prior to that, he and I were at a social event, and we were just talking about business and what our future goals were, and so on and so forth. And I was like, man, I've got this great idea for a new business model. And he was listening, and I thought he was just being supportive. He comes to me a couple of years later and says, hey, you know that business idea that you had, I am going to take that and run with it. Just like that. And I was like, oh my God. So he said, do you want to partner up with me? So I learned later that was really a ploy of his, a manipulative ploy to pull me into business, because he, come to find out, had no administrative ability whatsoever. So he depended on me to do everything. So I was doing the day-to-day running of the business, as well as seeing clients. And then his heart wasn't in it, because he was only in it for the money. He wasn't in it for taking care of the clients. And then he created a lot of messes, and I had to go back behind him and clean up those messes. So I wasn't only CEO, I was manager, I was actual clinician there in the practice, and seeing patients and seeing clients. And this was a high-end concierge medical practice. So, you can't fool around on something like that when somebody's paying cash for medical care at that high end. And so about 18 months in, I said that we need to reevaluate this. And, I had my epiphany that I had been kind of roped into this or manipulated into this business venture, and decided to close the doors on the business. And it was my baby. I mean, it was my idea. The good news is that I revamped the entire business. I changed the focus. I changed the mission statement. We split the clientele 50-50 right down the middle. And the first month that we were separated as business partners, we became profitable. For 18 months prior to that, we had not been profitable. And for the first time in 18 months, as soon as we separated our business agreement, I became profitable. And so I tell you that to tell you this. Sometimes seemingly big mistakes, even big financial mistakes, turn out to be really huge blessings. And we have to be patient sometimes and enjoy the process, learn from the process. Always look in those dire circumstances or what seem like dire circumstances. Always look for that silver lining, because trust me, it's there. It may be a little bit difficult to find, kind of like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but there's a silver lining there, and you will find it if you search for it long and hard enough. I mean, in that particular business situation that I talked to you about, I went through a grieving process, not only for business, but a grieving process for a friendship that had been developed over years, and how that friendship ended up turning out. But, sometimes people are in our life only for a short season, and sometimes they're there just to teach us a valuable lesson. And that's exactly what happened in this particular circumstance. So, when you learn from your mistakes, it's sometimes more important than knowing exactly what works. In other words, it's sometimes more important than having an exact recipe to get from point A to point B. When you learn from your mistakes, you spend less time wasting money. There's less drama, and there's less wasted time, period. So I encourage you, going into this weekend, if you've made some odd mistakes, bad mistakes, mistakes that just rocked you off your heels, and you don't think you can come back from, take a long, hard look at that. Remove the emotion from it, and take a long, hard look. Even if you have to grab a tablet and a pen and jot these things down, even if you have to jot your emotions down and say, okay, I've got that out on paper, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on what's good out of this situation. And it may have to be, I write my emotions down, then I write down all the negative things that happen in this situation, and then I create a list of positive things that happen in this situation. So I leave you with that this weekend. I trust that you will have a great weekend, and we will see you guys later.